You need to stall. You need to not die in a lot of cases. But interestingly enough, for TSM, they're all congregating in double doors. This could be a nice little B trap, I suppose it would be.
Yeah, I like that one too, because often you see a lot of garage control and then you try to split towards the C sign, but you can see from TSM they've changed the whole strategy around. They're actually looking for control towards the sewers and towards A, but the one that's actually going to it's going to be right now Cloud9 looking for control at sewers and towards long A. So they are playing the attacker side at this time too, and what I wanted to note was that it's actually Mitch as the stage, usually as a support player, looking for an entry frag through these sewers.
It's that kind of map where everybody has to be looking for entry frags, but he's the one that's taking up the most space. Drone is happy to sit on this corner, has a curveball, so if he's put under a lot of pressure like he's about to be with the Owl Drone, he's just going to shoot it. The wall's actually going to boost him up. It takes the attention away.
Yep.
So he's still there, but obviously Cloud9 aren't able to push it. Ted's just trying to take a bit of a tussle in mid. Even set up the camera, so I'm expecting that would be the site to be hit. Wardell is pushed off, but still wanting to play a little bit more aggressively. The site's going to get hit.
Wardell coming through the site to get the second kill, looking for the third, but unfortunately does not. Vice now does capitalize on that frag. It's walled up as Hayes is waiting for his teammates to rotate, looking for the knife break. Now a double push through this wall as two of them simultaneous fall. That's actually going to be Hayes, Drone, and now even Cutler on that rotation, courtesy of Relics, for the piss around to be in favor of Cloud9.
Explosive plays that we're expecting. It was started with Tim's just chipping away a bit of damage, putting Wardell under some pressure. It actually forced Wardell to play a bit more aggressively. He wasn't willing to back up on the site, wanted to at least, you know, cause a few casualties on the side of C9 as they put the spike down, but unfortunately was caught out completely. A good start for Cloud9. They didn't have a good one on Bind, which was part of the problem with them trying to surmount a comeback. But with any luck, you'd like to see Cloud9 being able to pick up a second round, but Wardell is playing super aggressively with a shot. He doesn't pick that corner, has to double take, but Tenz's gun is a little bit bigger.
Definitely, and he's even going to pop it in the face of Sabrosa as well. So, and that was long range at least, actually, because Sabrosa made it his way under window. At least Hayes does have that shorty down at 22 HP. He is going to get dropped no matter what, and it's still going to be so far so good. A round coming in for Cloud9. Nice classic shots here from Tenz as well onto Drone. So Cutler at this point, he's just going to look for exits. He didn't invest into anything, so it's okay for him to move forward. Well, here's the debate, though. Do you want to try to move forward and try to get a kill, or do you want to try to stay back and try to stay alive to not give him an ultimate point as well, and some credits as they get the kill onto you? So that's why you see him playing very passively, looking for the tight angles as well, so he could try to land the first shot if he could, but he's not getting anywhere closer to where he's about to lose a 4 versus 1.
Yeah, he's indecisive. There really isn't too much that he could do. There's no risk if he dies either. He hasn't got armor. He doesn't have any of his utility handy. He might want to try and grab the tripwire that's set up on A, but I don't really think that's happening. There might even actually most likely be the tripwire for the attacking cipher, to be fair, anyway, so that might be Vice's. He's got his camera set up to spot a bit on the mid area of the map, but that's, of course, not where they are. And it's actually Vice that's got the most kills so far, tied up with Tens. Yeah. And yeah, a good start for Cloud9. Like, they were, what, 0-6 on the start of Bind? So, not nice, that one. They don't want that to happen. So, at least they've alleviated a bit of pressure on themselves. And this is a bit more of a bonus round. But if C9 can string a few of these rounds together, they have a start like they did on Ascent. We saw just how TSM crumbled once it went to 6-0, 7-0. They just fell apart completely, and Cloud9 started to play with some newfound confidence, and they looked really good doing so. That's what they need to do.
Definitely, and they're looking for this control once again for Cloud9 towards this A side. And while it slows down a bit, we could notice the agent composition for this map, actually. It's changed a bit for TSM. They actually have, instead of a Silva, a Jet onto Wardell, but back to the basics for the other 4. So you'll have Cutler as a Cypher, you'll have Hayes as a Sage, and you'll have Brimstone and Phoenix as the regular 2 of Sabrosa and 2 drones, respectively. On the other end, though, I'm surprised that you're going to have Relics. Yes, he's out Omen main, but you saw some nice set mollies that he had towards that side on Bind, and it's some things they could do similarly for takes towards the A side on Haven. So I would have expected that from a molly play from that, but he's going to go with the Omen instead. With this round, though, they're looking for the execution into B to at least get a spike plant.
Oh, I like that movement from Tenzer. Just hops over the big metal box. Even Mitch using the wall to boost himself up. So this is a lot of control. And Tenz is still on the offensive. Pushes for a smoke to get a pick onto Hayes. And now starts to back up. Really isn't too much that TSM could do here. Wardell and Drone on either side of the map. And they're looking to try and catch some people that are lurking around. Namely this Omen. It's going to peek around the corner right now. It's an awkward fight. Come on, Drone. Gets the frag onto Relics eventually. But not too much else to happen. Wardell is the operator. He wants to keep hold of it. So this is going to be round number 3 going towards Cloud9. And I think this is looking decent there. Again, TSM are sometimes a bit of a slow team to start off with. So they're not going to be too worried. But Cloud9 are like, yes, more of this.
And people talk about ability combos, right? Sometimes, let's say, for example, Sage Frost Orb with a Molly to try to burn some people down. But you saw how that was played towards that B. Sometimes it doesn't have to be offensive combos. You have a camera that was thrown up towards the right side of the B wall that puts the crosshair away from Cutler towards B main to try to break that camera. At the same time, a Sage Wall self-boost, and also an updraft and a dash from Jet. So you're playing 2 baits from 2 different agent abilities, and then utilize Mitch basically as the turret to get the kills right after. So that was just beautifully executed for Cloud9 to get into that B site, and you saw it. After those 2 kills, immediately everybody fell back to just save their weapons.
As weapons are important, it is a long game, so TSM aren't going to try and do too much, lose out some of this economy, which is also equally as important. I like the play from Drone on this corner. The camera's going to spout out a bit of intel. The Drone knows that his positioning is going to be good. He looks a bit odd just staring into the wall like that, but I can assure you that this is going to be a good play. If Cloud9 were looking to push it, it seems that that's not going to be the answer. Vice is looking to see if anybody's going to lurk towards sewers, but right now this is patient from TSM. Scout out a bit of intel, try and catch Cloud9 as they push on in. And Wardell's positioning is bound to catch somebody off if they're not careful.
Yeah, so you have Drone that's playing around the corner, so you're trying to bait with a camera and trap wires from the Cypher as well, and then just have Drone try to go for a curveball and peek towards long. But the action's happening towards B, where unfortunately Wardell only picks up 1 and not the second one onto Mitch. Usually he doesn't miss that kind of shot versus Mitch, but Mitch has been on point with his firing. Now even inside that site, Tens goes for the updraft inside the B site to get that frag there on it to Hayes. Vice with the operator. Sabrosa falls as that spike is still taken down, and it's looking to be a 4th answered round so far here. But we are attempting to take it. So a nice curveball, sorry. That's going to blind the operator towards Gong as Cutler gets the 1st and 2nd onto Tens. So now it's a 2 versus 1, but they still have a res. It's not planned for him to basically go for an easy defuse, so you can pretty much see that he's going to save his Vandal at this point.
And time, too. It's starting to get towards the end of this wick. And I really like how Tens is playing this. He tried to play like this on bind, but ended up just running into the enemy and dying quite a lot. But just the dashing onto the big box in B takes a lot of space. And I think the most important thing was Mitch getting that refrag. Like Wardell getting the first pick with the operator on the jet, sort of towards B. Mitch just chased up to make sure that he died, because if they let Wardell go free there, he's just going to chain these kills together and be near enough unstoppable. So it was very brave and very well played of Mitch to just dedicate, play a bit more aggressively than you'd expect from a Sage, just to make sure that Wardell gets punished for playing so aggressively.
So 4 unanswered rounds here. Cutler saving his Vandal. The rest of the team, it's only going to be on pistol. So 3 shares and a classic here for Wardell. And it's going to be playing off basically a solo hold towards the A side. Yes, Drone is going to look for some information, but if he dies, you're not really going to go for a trade play with Cutler at that site. So now you saw Drone moves down towards that Surrey. He gets picked off. We saw one pushing towards that mid side, picked off as well. Wardell at least has the Blade Storm. So Tense is just around the corner here, where if they try to peek out, he go for these right clicks and aggressive peeks as well. And I like this. Cutler actually rotates around. So the ones with the most powerful weapons, well, the crossfire is there for them. 2 right clicks misses, unfortunately. The second one actually hits onto Tens at half HP. They have lost the res, and they have lost the health too. So you see them booking it all back right now for Cloud9 to move down towards the garage into C, where Hayes is waiting for him.
And Tens has his ultimate too if he wants to use it, but the operator seems to be finding much more success. Relics is going to add to that now. Just Cutler left alive, but every member, it seems, of C9 is able to get a frag and put them 5-0 up. This would be a big surprise if Cloud9 could keep this momentum up, even bringing it to the brink of a very close game on Haven. It's worth reminding as well, we don't have the new overtime feature in this game. There was some inconsistencies with it working, so if it does go to a sudden death 12-all, which it could do, fingers crossed it's a close game, it'll just be how the game normally played out with overtime, right? So don't expect a new system. There's a couple of bugs where it finishes a bit too early. And so we're just going to go back to the drawing board, back to square one with the old feature, which is a shame. I would have loved to seen how the new version of overtime would work in a game like this.
But so far in this best out of 3, Ryan, you're looking at a dominating half for Cloud9 on the first map, a dominating half on the second map for TSM, and now a dominating half here for Cloud9 once again on the third. If the patterns kind of repeat themselves, you could probably think that Cloud9 should be running away with this matchup here, because it seems as though on the defense, out of 5 rounds, we haven't seen a real footing yet out of TSM. This is basically their second real gun round in these 5 rounds, so this is where it will really dictate the pace here of TSM.
And I really like Cloud9's attack, really, because they're not overly aggressively pushing onto a site. They're taking their time. Granted, they keep going B, which is kind of difficult when you have all of these defenders surrounding the site. They're even stacking up towards that direction now, just because it's been hit so frequently. But they are going to move towards double doors. They need to be careful of where Haste is positioned here. It's a Phantom, so it's not quite like a Shotty or a Judge, but it's still going to be dangerous. Tens comes out with the ultimate, doesn't get it though. The double pick from Haste is good, and he has control of the spike.
Puts the wall up at the same time too. He saw that camera at the same time, but that wall is going to give a chance for his teammate to rotate. But look at that, you also have the stage that's close by that's watching that link, but Drone picks him. You check your 50s. That's what you have to do, despite your teammate already in garage. You have to check every corner possible. So a great play. With only 12 seconds remaining, the pick comes through. There shouldn't be enough time here for Relics to pick up the spike and to get the plant. So now with 5 seconds left, close range here. Dash it away is Wardell. Going for the quick scope. Skylar falls down as the op versus op. It is going to be TSM first point on the scoreboard.
Oh, that was almost comical. It was just Relics poking his head out double doors, but like, uh-oh. Just goes back inside, like, oh, that's not the direction I want to go in. Not even scoped in with his gun, he just wasn't expecting it, but that's Wardell's playstyle. He's lurking around, he's going to be dangerous no matter where you place him. First round for TSM. I think at this point now we can start to see them build up a bit of momentum and string a few more rounds together, but the economy is still good for Cloud9, and they have 4 ultimates. 2 of which are fairly aggressive in how they can place it with the From the Shadows and Hunter's Fury, but also really good for the retake. They just need to get that spike planted and play a bit more aggro like Drone is right now. I see an Odin.
Did you?
I think Shinobi is an Odin.
That has to be Shinobi. But at least we get the first operator kill as the first falls here on the attack, so that's the res actually gone. But at least with these ultimates, like you said here, Ryan, it could be good. Well, check that out. I was going to say, From the Shadows could get some information away, even playing behind with an Owl drone, so they could actually get some information and then execute into C, even with the Hunter's Fury. But now you have 2 ultimates down, as both Relics and Mitch both fall. But at least you have the Hunter's Fury coming out. The first connects here on to Hayes, who's looking to stay alive, and he will. Wardell rotates across B, where we have that spike already inside the site.
Wardell's positioning is nice, but the spike has been planted, but look how surrounded Vice is. Has to pick these camera angles one by one. Has to be careful. Spots one, spots another. That's 2 kills he's able to get. Dedicates an Neural Theft to know exactly where these last 2 defenders are going to be. It forces Wardell to play a little bit more aggressively with the operator. Cutler's able to get 10s from across the map. So it's Vice holding his guard. He gets his third. Can he get the 4th on this corner? No, Wardell is going to get his second. Gets his third onto Shinobi. Bro, like this guy.
Don't you like Wardell now? Don't you like Wardell now, RyanCentral?
I just wasn't expecting it. You know, his positioning giving up with the operator, and he's just like, no, I'm going to push here. They're not going to expect this. I'm just going to run into them and just peek some insane angles to get those frags. Shinobi, the last alive with the Odin. Not quite the same caliber of weapon that the operator's in. Can't really match what Wardell just did there, but some really nice play from Vice. He held onto the site very cleanly. Only 1 frag behind 10s. And like I said, TSM are building up a few more rounds now, and they have the ultimate economy on their side. The gun economy is still okay for C9, but if they lose this round, then they might need to save again.
Yeah, and I'm surprised as well, because they have the higher seed for TSM, and I usually see them a lot stronger on the attacker side. So kind of surprising that it took the defender side first, but it's still going to be Sabrosa. Double operator setup like I mentioned at the pregame. Expect that coming in from Sabrosa into Wardell. So already TenZ is going to fall at the boxes. You have pretty much a bunny hop happening towards long A, but Wardell is actually pushed down towards that sewer side with Drone, just around the corner with a curveball. So this is going to be so deadly for the Spike Carrier and company now.
Drone hears them. There's all of the intel. Wardell is watching very closely as well, so these are going to be some interestingly peaked angles. He's forced to run away. He's going to be given chase from the attackers. Drone's feeling a bit lost, but Wardell, as he gets paranoid, kills Relics. You can't give him even a second of chance, and Sabrosa getting a second. This double operator is being hell on earth for C9. We now go back to Drone, who's still just watching that corner, waiting for something to happen. But it's Wardell, the one that we want to be keeping an eye on. He's the key factor, gets his second, and C9 are really struggling with these operator players.
Only Shinobi, the last man standing, that does not have that Odin, only with the Phantom at this point. But Drone, the amount of time that he waited so long at the long A, funny flanks around at sewers, gets the kill. And that is going to be now 4 ultimates primed up, 3 rounds in a row coming in for TSM. And I got to ask you here, Ryan, who's the best operator you have in Europe? Is it Mixwell at this point?
He's, you'd still say Ardis, but considering that G2 has Mixwell and Ardis, I think Mixwell's the main opera on that lineup. But still, like,
so how do you
Ardis
compare?
does have his moment. That's the tricky thing, because they're very similar players. It was really interesting to see that G2 picked up both Mixwell and Ardis, considering they play a very similar role. But how Ardis has moved over to the Sova, like, sort of position, I suppose it would be for this roster, has been super good. They have, like, finals towards tomorrow in the tournament, and I want to see it because they play some blistering Valorant. And it looks very similar to how NA teams play as well. It's sort of a little bit puggy, but individual performances are strong. Kind of like Team Liquid in CSGO. Just everybody can frag out like crazy. The strats maybe not set up, but individually, god tier.
But my simple question was to say that Wardell's probably a better operator than those two there in Europe. So Wardell opens it up here onto mid. Exactly. I just wanted a simple answer. Wardell's better. TenZ moves in here with the judge, gets the frag onto Sabrosa. Hayes now moving in, but TenZ still continues as the updraft comes in for Wardell. They clear out the site. Look at that. The operator's stuck towards the air, and the updraft's already used, so I don't know if TenZ can go back and pick it up. Nonetheless, though, it's a 2 versus 3 situation in favor now of Cloud9, as you still have a lurker inside the garage. Both Drone and Cutler are trying to move forward from that spawn side, but it's looking dire right now for TSM on that retake. Look how aggressive the push-up is, though. They're playing off the camera, so a double stack off the default spot for Cloud9. The first peak coming through, and there you go, jumping judge from TenZ to seal the deal. 6-3 now for Cloud9.
TenZ just slaps him down there at the end. Like, there's nothing. Like, as somebody that is very much molding, as you've seen my hairline, I can tell you that somebody jumping in the air and getting a headshot with a judge is probably the quickest way to have your hair recede just a little bit more. So it's nice to see that TenZ is using that towards his advantage. A lot better from this team. Like, I don't know if it was just the bind was a bad map, they weren't having a good day. TSM were just firing on all cylinders, but now they go into half-time at least even if TSM could pick up these remaining 3 rounds. But if they could get an advantage, if they could just be like 7... my maths just went wrong there. 7-5, 8-4. If they could just get a couple of rounds in advantage going into half-time, I think they're onto a winner.
Definitely here. So now we do have Mitch and company trying to look back at this control towards A side, where it didn't pay off for them before, but they're still being stubborn and going to try to work that down. But look how aggressively Wardell has pushed up. The thing is, though, nobody really rotated yet from TSM. They're still holding 2 towards Garage, 1 towards B, because they have the camera of Cutler to watch towards the A side all the way from heaven. And if you could call it out, they're going to kind of play the retake. But now you see the lurk happening. 3 guys here from Cloud9 moving in towards B side, 2 towards the sewers. Make that now 3 as TenZ is moving up with his teammates on that sewer side. So we're going to have that pincer towards A, but finally, at least, a rotation did come through from TSM.
And look how much C9 has just stopped.
Yeah.
It's like it's just a freeze frame. They're just buying their time here, and they only have the Resurrect, and Mitch is looking to be more of an entry fragger towards the B site. If they can make a bit more noise, even throw a few smokes that way, yeah, you could see it. So Bros is like, what was that? He's going to check it out. Gets hit with a paranoia, and is still running. Has to back out completely, which is giving up a lot of space. That paranoia was 200 IQ. Look how much space it's made for them.
That is so good right now. The trades are coming across too, but Cutler is still alive here inside that site. Mitch even gets a res on top of that while Cutler puts their spy cam up to look towards that flank. His teammates, he's waiting for them. They're so far behind here, still rotating from that B side. That spike is ticking down, but they're on a 5 versus 3. If they cannot get a kill early, they're at least going to go for a res, so they're going to res one here towards that spawn site. They still have to go for the kills early to try to take this round back. So now at least one's watching that flank here towards the long A. That is going to be Relics, while the rest here are still working towards that side, but you see them backing out. They're going to leave Cutler to die pretty much, while the rest of the guys are going to save into the next round. Relics is actually moving inside B here, where Wardell is waiting with the operator. Oh no, he's got the knife out. Relics made it inside. He's going to hear the footsteps. There you go.
Where are you looking?
Gets the kill. Well, Wardell was still walking. At that point, it's hard to spot, and it's going to be that spike going off and a round coming in for Cloud9. But, Ryan, that execution was perfect there for Cloud9 into A.
Pristine, and their hold of retakes has been decent too. Like, it wasn't obviously great on bind, but I don't think the spike really got planted all that much from Cloud9 when they were attacking anyway. So that's an area I think TSM over this series at least has looked a bit iffy. Certainly on maps like Ascent and stuff where the spike has been planted, their retakes, they take so long. Sometimes they build up enough time and power and momentum to just steer Cloud9 off the site to get the defuse in, but sometimes they just stop in their tracks and then it's suddenly like, oh, we've sat here for like 20 to 30 seconds. We don't have enough time anymore. Let's just try and save. It looks a little bit awkward, maybe an area that they can be dialed up on a little bit from the coaches, but honestly, that's me being really pedantic. TSM looking on the back foot, at least on this half, but certainly not out of it just yet.
Mm-hmm. Like I said, they're usually stronger here on the attacker side from what I've seen with TSM's playstyle, especially having a jet on the operator too. They're probably going to count on Wardell to get a lot of opening picks. This round, though, split off across the map. Wardell's pushing down once again. He's about to come head-to-head here against Relics, who decides to fall back just a little bit now. So it's going to be safe for now while the rest are still working towards his garage. It's going to be a 1 versus 1 between Hayes and Jet at that point too. And the 1 versus 1 towards Stewards, unfortunately, is won by Mitch here of Cloud9. As they get this pick, though, they're still falling back from that, and they're looking to split into C.
Garage is going to be another hot point of the map yet again from the looks of it. That's where the spike has been cargoed. Hence the security guard keeping an eye on it, but this positioning from Wardell, it's pixel perfect. Relics can only do so much yet again, losing these battles, nice. But Hayes is the one that comes in through double doors. The spray is good, if not a little bit awkward there for Hayes at the end, but he won't matter. That's a triple kill. In the 4th round for TSM, they want to make it 5 as we go into the last round before we switch sides. But regardless, Cloud9 lead with an advantage going into it and look good, but will their defense look as decent as their attack?
Yeah, that's why I kind of see why TSM is a little bit slower on rotates, because they really want to rotate as soon as they know where the dark covers are coming from, especially mid-round, late rounds. You know for a fact that if you see a dark cloud coming through from Relics towards that mid-round, the execution's coming across at the same time too. Wardell just stood his role basically from his angle, and then that gave a chance. Nice shot there from Wardell. That gave a chance from Hayes to be ready for the shots, and Wardell basically knew that updraft coming in from that spawn side. Somehow he was already looking up there from that spawn, and Tens falls, breaks the camera on top of that too, and things are looking very swell right now as Drone gets 2 kills, including a spike carrier. Curveball to come out, fully blinded is going to be Relics that gets the kill, but at least Drone takes down Shinobi with them, leaving it on a 4 versus 1 situation. Brimstone still has the orbital strike and a neural theft from the Cypher, but you won't need it because you know exactly where that last player is.
Good luck, Relics. That's all I can say. Wardell's about to look right at you, even paranoid. Wardell is going to even get the headshot. It's crisp. A good half from both sides really isn't a disaster for TSM, to say the least. Wardell 15-5 when it comes to frags. Tens 11-7. Much more lukewarm game, I suppose, out of Tens. He's not really had the time to shine, and I'm not really sure how these guys are going to play on defense. Their Ascent defense was pretty much perfect, really, when it comes to how it was played. Bind, again, not too good, not too bad. It was okay, but when you're playing up against the best of the best, it needs to be pitch perfect. You can't have any weaknesses, or a team like TSM is going to exploit it. This is a big half for Cloud9. If they can pull it off, then people can really stop writing off this team.
Yeah, and you saw the amount of pings that happened there on that minimap towards that A sign. And what do they have? They have Brimstone pretty much to only work with for the smokes. Yes, maybe Cloudburst as well from the Jet at the same time too. but it starts off with them still trying to commit with this, even though the cyber cages kind of gave their information away, as well as the Sova arrow that was thrown there from Shinobi inside the cubby of A sign. So let's see what's going to come out of it.
Shinobi's giving up a lot of space now. He's letting Tens be potential first contact, but the clomping is going to be heard. The A site is very much going to be hit. Even Shinobi spotting out a little bit, but Tens now on the high ground with the Ghost. It's difficult with how TSM have positioned themselves. It's all over the shop, and there's a lot of damage to do. Tens trying to take the engagement. Wardell does win it, but that wall is going to buy more time for this rotation to get stalled out. So things are looking decent from TSM.
Yeah, definitely. So from falling back, you really want to play the retake now for Cloud9. So at least for Tens to get the first kill, but the spike is still down here. That's the important part for TSM. And they're great positions to have at least watching the flank. That means less defense inside that site. And nice tailwind coming through there from Tens. Going through the smoke, going for the backstab. And because of that, Sabrosa's on a 4 versus 1. They're picking it. He gets the kill onto Relics. Now close range onto Tens. He runs out of bullets twice, gets the kill. But there's no time for the defuse.
He did his job.
Dude.
He did his job. He bought enough time. Also, shoutouts to his teammates that were no doubt pinging the Spike's position on the minimap. That's why he was able to get such a good spam in on the first person that went for the defuse. That was really good from Cloud9 up until that point. They exploded onto the site, cleared everybody up other than Sabrosa, but his brain is just too big. He just positions himself nicely, buys enough time, stalls it enough for the Spike to be deployed. And this is the perfect stuff for TSM when it comes to their attack, at least, or their defense, even.
Yeah, but the thing is, I thought because Sabrosa was playing towards that spawn side, that he probably had a molly set up that he could throw onto the spike. But he actually had to book it towards the long A side and count on his teammates' pings to actually just spray with the classic. So maybe because of where the spike was planted, it wasn't one that he actually studied into.
Now this pressure is going to be fairly easy, I suppose, for Wardell and the rest of TSM to keep up. They have the guns, but he takes a bit of chip damage, actually, from Relics on the Omen, who's picked up the Ghost now. He's going to find himself in an engagement with Drone, but he can't really go up against the Spectre. Right now, it's just holding mid-control, keeping TSM from getting too much intel on where people are positioned. The rotation's going to come in. Tens' positioning is good. The shot, he misses the second shot. It's a nice dash away from Wardell. His control of the spike gets a second. T9 have hold of this, but he needs to be careful behind him. Look at the wraparound now. Tens is going to try and find more. He misses the shots. Unfortunately, Hayes just does a better spray and pray gun. Now it's up for Shinobi to try and do more damage.
Yeah, only at 31 HP though as they're moving forward. Cutler does get the frag, so it's a 3 versus 1 at this point. Leaving Mitch the last man standing. Even the camera spot him. This is going to be impossible. He picks up the Marshall, going for a no-scope, but Drone seals the deal, and for TSM ties it up in this matchup, 7-7. And if you're just tuning in right now, it's a best out of 3. Whoever wins this one moves on to the semifinals, and unfortunately, whoever loses this one is knocked out.
And I've got to give Cloud9 credit, even if they do lose this game. I think, to an extent at least, they can leave with their heads held high. They are going up against one of the stronger teams here. There's some glaring obvious issues, I suppose, in some maps and some rounds that they've had, but they look more consistent than some of the previous weeks that I've seen them play. But they have the kind of right stuff. It's just making sure that they can have that consistency up there too. Tens, however, misses that shot. The flash from Drone doesn't really connect, but Drone is certainly connected with those headshots. He gets 2.
This is the Drone that we know, just running into the site, getting the entries. Shinobi making it 2 kills of his own, but like I said, Shinobi with that gets a triple kill. Meanwhile, though, Sabrosa has lurked out towards C. The rotation's going to come very soon. He might hear the footsteps coming in from Mitch, but he has a great angle right now to get that backstab onto the log. And there you go. Oh Mitch looks at it. Sabrosa loses the fight. A self-heal to look forward now. He looks towards the long B. Hayes is around the corner. He wins that one as well. Somehow, Sabrosa, you wish he would have had that shot. A paranoia comes in from Relics as well as Drone. He's looking for the ace. He runs out of the run it back, unfortunately, but knows that they're both there. Jumping on the top, left and right. He's down at 85, has all of everything inside his kit, with the exception of one curveball. Gets the first, but cannot get the second, unfortunately. Mitch, sealing the deal as the anchor inside C, wins that round for Cloud9.
How did Sabrosa not get that? That was like the butterfly effect. Like, he didn't get that kill onto Mitch, and Mitch just did the rest. Like, he got the triple kill. He came in exactly when Cloud9 needed him to. It's
He's got to hate
unfortunate
himself
as
for
well
that.
because Drone is such a killer round. Like 4 kills to first pick onto 10s was a nut shot. It was just crazy with how he was able to get that from distance against an operator, right? So Mitch got the triple kill. It might not have necessarily been flashy, but it did the job, and that's exactly what Cloud9 need right now. Only a few more rounds, 5 left, and they're in the semifinals and knocked out the big favorites.
Yeah, and they won the round, and they won it with not a lot of money left. So you could see there's Spectres, there's Judges on a high-low stack inside the garage. They're trying to move forward here for TSM, but they don't want to walk into these traps where the submachine guns and the Judges will come into effect on these close-range battles. Even a Bulldog in the back of D for Shinobi. Things are still looking good here for TSM to overtake this site. They get the default wall towards the left side link. They're going for that plant. Shinobi's trying to run through, but he's paranoid. At least they get the plant before he gets the kill. Now they're able to fall back. Oh, he could defuse it from his angle. No! Okay, at least there's an orbital strike. But I'm sure they heard the sound at the same time too, so they're going to have to play it really quickly here. Thankfully for a Molly to come down at the same time, and we're playing it close. We have no choice. Drone gets the kill with the Guardian. Cutler trying to spam through the smoke at the same time. We're probably going to try to play this again, and they're so close. Rosa gets 2 kills. They're going to stick onto the spike one more time, and trade after trade, and finally the defenders. They get the defuse. Relics with the kill with the Guardian. That was the most chaotic round I've ever casted so far in Valorant.
These are some of the best teams in NA. That's all you can really...
Oh
what
my
was
God.
that? Like, the wall put in sideways, that the defuse could come in, the orbital strike being dedicated, the Guardians, the Judges. What is this? This is like a quarterfinal with some of the bigger teams, and both those teams had a mare right then, but yet again, Cloud9 coming in when they need to. They're not going to care how it comes. These rounds are super important, and it forces a save out of the defenders of TSM. It could be 10-7. Dude,
that was so... It was just placed off a gap from a wall, unfortunately, that was kind of misthrown from Hayes when they put the wall across for that spike plant. But into this round here, that means that TSM are going to be on a broken buy only with pistols. Things are looking good now for Tens and company. It's going to be a boost. They're going for the boost, the jet across. They know where Mitch is at right now too, but they get the trade-off. Tens is still inside that site though. Barnard's Fury coming in from Shinobi at the same time as well, but you still have a no-scope miss. He does land at least the Blaze Storm on 2 kills. And Cloud9 takes the lead by 3.
I mean, 2 great ultimates there. The Hunter's Fury from Shinobi catches quite a lot. And then Tens, right when he needs to, uses the ultimate, having the operator now, put down the Judge for a while. And this is seems to be a bit of a pause, maybe a technical issue happening. But, like, this is pretty good from Cloud9. Like, towards the start of this half, it looked a bit dicey. And, yeah, like, I think they've looked really good. I just think that, like, this is still... I still don't necessarily feel comfortable saying that, like, oh, yeah, this is going to be Cloud9's now. But there's some pretty impactful rounds. The last 3 that we just saw then looked really... Well, they looked decent for Cloud9 with how they handled themselves, really. That round in the middle was a bit all over the place from both sides, but that was just chaotic. You can't really say any more than that.
Well,
Ultimates, Molotovs, utility all thrown in
exactly.
one spot like that. I mean, it was good for Cloud9 to get that defuse in because that was such a small window for it to come through.
Yeah, it was basically everybody doing the best that they could with whatever they had left for their kits, right? You had the hot hands or the molly being thrown onto the ground, but then the dark cover coming in from Relics at the same time too. That gave a chance for the team to actually go one by one, basically try to get one defuse, one dies, one more is going to try it as well, the other one dies, and then it came down to that 1 versus 1. Thankfully, though, for TSM, they also had a lower buy too, because Drone only had a Guardian. So both of these teams, no matter who won that round or lost that round, were in such a broken and low buy that it was such an important round that gave Cloud9 the ability to actually take this lead by 2 now, forcing TSM on a save on that previous round. But now we actually do have that on pause. Maybe it was a tactical, as we do allow that for this tournament as well, a tactical pause of 30 seconds for each of these teams. And it starts off with Wardell, starting with the first pick here on to Tens. So the Jet versus Jet, Op versus, well, I don't know if actually Tens had an op into that round. Actually, he did because he had it on that previous round before. It is going to be a 5-on-4 to start things off for TSM.
Not the best start for the defenders, but an opening for TSM, who have been on the losing side the last couple of rounds at least. Seems the B site is going to be hit again. Oh, here we go again. Owl Drone is going to scout quite a lot from Shinobi. Drone's going to take up a lot of the space with the wall blocking on the left-hand side, so he's using the run it back to scout out as much intel, maybe even get a frag, but the spike has been planted, and there's no big defensive ultimates like an orbital strike. But they have the orbital strike on this attack, so it's just a case of hold off. If anybody touches it to try and defuse, just throw all of these ultimates at them.
That's right, and there's no gap in the wall either here too, so it's okay for them to play super passively. Okay, I saw what happened actually. You just saw it. It wasn't actually a gap in the wall. They actually shot it from the fourth block that gave that small gap. Now the orbital strike comes down. Mitch is actually going to die. We're even going to have some stim packs coming through too. Shinobi trying to push forward. Drone does get the kill onto Vice. Then Relics trades it out. He's going to try to battle up long range here, but unfortunately Wardell stops him in his track, and a much needed round to put TSM back here on this comeback train. They put up at 8.
Tactical pause coming in clutch there, I think. Maybe it was just a reminder to, like, keep you cool, like, just take things steady. You have the ult advantage there. You just needed to throw an orbital strike on the point there. It forced Mitch to die because he had to dedicate to trying to get halfway on defuse. It's those kind of areas, like, really, TSM don't need to overthink it here. The plants have been decent. Cloud9 know that they have the advantage here. It's going right to the end game now, so any false moves are going to cost quite a lot for either side. But TenZ is on a box with a judge. Let's pray to the gods that he's able to get a frag he's hoping and doesn't get caught out completely.
That's right. And now it's going to be that same position here for TenZ on the top inside that garage. We have alert slow from the Phoenix of Drone with the spike on top of that. He doesn't have to run it back, so he's just going to walk in and try to get an opening, and I don't know if that was a mistake for him to just peek in there like that with the spike. I don't know if he knew he had it on his back. So now already the spike is down. Mitch is trying to peek out, but Wardell trades it out. Now inside the garage, TenZ does get the kill onto Sabrosa. They do break the wall, but Shinobi's in the back of the site with support from TenZ. Long range though, it's going to be Shinobi that wins that fight. TenZ continues with the judge as Hayes gets 2 kills out of HP. As finally Relics on that 1 versus 1 makes it 11-8. So you talked about costly mistakes here, Ryan. I think that was one with Drone moving up with that spike.
Is going to be costly. It's going to be punished. It's also interesting to see how TenZ is getting so much success with the judge. Like, the fact that this guy is swapping all of the weapons, the play style, it's really shown up quite a lot. We saw it yesterday a little bit with Code, it would have been Code 7, yeah, with the Immortals game. Just Robwiz running in with the Stinger on a jet. Like, he had no fear, and I think this is where these teams need to really push the boat out when it comes to strategies. TenZ isn't just playing the jet operator role. He's still got the judge now. He still wants to get quite a lot done with it, change up his positioning. Now he's on A, and that's an area that TSM are kind of awkwardly been caught out with. They're on the back foot. There's not many rounds to go now for Cloud9. They'd be on match point if they win this one, and I think Mitch as well on the C site has been an absolute instigator of this success with how he's anchoring it.
And so far, everything's been working well here for TSM to work towards B. They're going to try it again. You had the Blade Storm, a headshot from Wardell, a dash to try to pick up the weapon on top of that. It's going to be a Spectre looking for the heal as well, but it's all the way here towards that spike plant. So they had to wait for that. Close range, Cutler loses to Relics, who pushed all the way down towards Long C. Oh my god, TenZ continues forward through his own Cloudburst. 2 kills with the judge, and Wardell actually trades it back. A 2 versus 3. You want these 2 guys alive for TSM. You have Drone, but a Paranoia comes in from Relics. They have an ult as well. They have a res available if they want to, and Wardell still has it on that Blade Storm, but it's Relics that gets 2 kills with the Vandal, sweeps of the last 2, and this puts Cloud9 at serious point to eliminate TSM.
So, because of the positioning of TenZ, like on A, I'm like, okay, if the plant goes in, he's not going to have much success with that judge. How wrong was I? He's just sitting in smokes and catches out 2 people. The flick as well. The mechanical skill needed to make the judge work like that isn't bad. It's not going to be like an operator flick show, but like that was super important to get those shots in. There's going to be another pause, and quite rightly, because this match is spiraling out. Match point now for Cloud9. Hard to know what side is going to go in for the pause, but Cloud9, it might be potentially just like, don't throw, just do it. We're this close. Please don't throw this, please. Like, dude, this is so good for Cloud9. If they knock out TSM, that's big for the whole scene.
Oh, definitely. Big for the scene, big for the organization, big as well for this lineup. I mean, we're still trying to confirm if the last 3 players will get signed by Cloud9 eventually. If not, well, hopefully they've done enough and proven enough that they could play in a top team right now for Cloud9. But thinking about this situation, though, you take this pause here for TSM, you're like, what can we actually do with this? They actually have to think about it, because you have 4 ultimates ready for the defender side too of Cloud9. You have a Res, you have a Neural Theft, you have the Blade Storm from Jet, who's been killing it with the Judge. Maybe he will need the Blade Storm, but you also have the Information Gatherer with Omen with the Into the Shadows. For TSM's side, they only have a Neural Theft, so they don't really have much in terms of a post-plant situation unless they keep that Neural Theft alive after getting a kill at the post-plant. So a big round needed here, a big 4 rounds needed for TSM coming up.
And look at where Tens is playing with the Judge. Can he do more? This is straight away. He's going to run right into Drone. He's sort of looking for the wall bang too. Like, it all comes down to this kind of moment.
Yeah, you saw Tens looking.
I just want it to happen, but the Cyber Cage scares him away a little bit, so Tens isn't going to run into anybody just yet, but he's holding his nerve. This is tense.
Literally. No pun intended. And that's because there's also a camera here on top of the sewers. So he fell back the first time because he got tagged. And now he's making a lot of noise, pretending like he's running back. But he's going to move forward here, and he's still going to possibly walk into the shot of the Judge. And Tens makes it 1 frag closer to the victory for Cloud9. Spike now picked up, and the rest of TSM are still trying to work towards this A side with the Jet moving forward. And there's that information that I told you about. So Relics is going to spot 2 of those players towards long A. What can he do with this now?
Tens is moving away from the site because he knows that the execute could come on B. This is a pretty big bait when he comes out of Hayes putting the wall down. It takes the player away from the site, and Wardell's got a nice sight line when it comes to the operator. Nobody's going to peek it, but you can see the Tens is now back on A. You can see that the Blade Storm was ready to peek around this corner. 15 seconds left to plan, and Cloud9 aren't phased by this. They're just going to wait.
That's right, now the Blade Storm's coming out, running out of it. The Judge is out as well. There's 7 seconds left. Cutler does get the kill onto the most important player in this round. Tens is dead. The Spike is about to come down as well. Wardell gets the kill with the up. Shot darts coming through. At least the plant is successful. Everybody is falling back. Shinobi moving in from the spawn with his teammate Mitch at the top of heaven. A flank from Relics, but it's stopped by Wardell with the wall bang. Last 2 are now spotted. Wardell gets the third onto Mitch. Wardell is saving a round for TSM. Shinobi is the last one standing at this point, and he will decide to fall back, especially now that he got tagged by a camera. It is going to be TSM staying alive into this point. But at this point, Shinobi, he could look for some exit kills too. But at the end of the day, it's still TSM looking to fight another round.
There's still more Valorant to be played between these 2 teams. Wardell just coming in necessary at that point. We're used to seeing him flex out like that with the operator, but he had to do that. He had no option, really. If there was anything less, then this game could have easily gone the way of Cloud9 already. With the score now being 9-12. Still a few more rounds to win now for TSM if they want to bring this back. Wardell and Tens equal on kills. Shows how both these players have been performing, but Tens has had a lot more variation in how he's playing it. Not picking up the Judge this time, so he can put those resident sleepers away. He's just going to be running in with a rifle. It just needs to be clean from Cloud9. It doesn't need to be too smart. It doesn't need to be overzealous. It just needs to be well placed. There's no ultimates, and their economy isn't ideal either. This just has to be perfect.
Yeah, and if you looked at that scoreboard quickly, you saw that Hayes is at 6 and 7 on the ultimate points, and usually him being that spike carrier, if he could get a spike down, that's going to give him a chance to get the res up. Same thing for Drone. If he gets a kill, he can get a run it back, and that's going to be huge right now. Drone being a key player in terms of entries as well. Of course, he lost that fight versus Tens because Tens played that perfectly on that 1-versus-1 engagement inside the sewers. But you could see that they're going aggressively because they want to get this early kill. They also want to contest this orb if they don't get the kill towards long A here for Drone.
The operator play is going to be important. A is looking to be a site that's been hit on relatively hard, but the spike is being left in mid, so there's still freedom now for TSM to move around the map as they see necessary. A bit of a push-up from C9, namely it's going to be Mitch on the Sage on C holding onto that corner, but is it going to run into all that much? But this is what I mean. Cloud9 aren't over pushing. They're not giving an opening for TSM to exploit. They're just waiting around the corners. Most likely going to be planning to play retake. Even Cutler forced out a bit of utility towards the side of C9 as both Cyphers are going at it on A. More of a mind game, but look at this deep rotation coming in from Cloud9 moving over to A. The C site's looking open and Mitch is giving up his positioning. Can easily be caught out here.
It has to be a huge kill here from Hayes because of that. You saw that rotate come through, but Hayes is still holding towards his B side, and he was going to come up against Relics. Now they put that wall up. It's going back towards his B execute here. for TSM. Hot hands to be thrown as well, but Relics is playing close range at the door. Coming and knocking, it's the Brimstone. The spike is now down. Drone trades it back. It's a 2-for-2 on each side. Now it's a 3 versus 3 remaining. You have to run it back. Drone is going to pop it up, get that information. He knows Shinobi is close. Wardell gets the close range through the coppers on the Shinobi. A quick scope on the tens, and then Drone gets the last kill. They're going to come in and get the spike to add some money, but they're 2 rounds away of bringing this into sudden death.
Run it back was super smart there. Drone knew that his position in a way used that ultimate was going to be easily spottable, easily telegraphed. So he used himself as bait, and Wardell in the smoke with the operator spots the aggressive push coming out on there to C9 to try and punish it. And from there, it was just electric kill after kill after kill. It forces Tens to bring up the judge, but it seems to be a save from everybody else near enough, or actually maybe a bit of a force looking at what Relics is wanted to buy.
Yeah.
This is where TSM is starting to bring it back a little bit, and you can't give them too much momentum, or they will just take this game away from C9 right whilst it's in their claws.
Yeah, so you lost 2 rounds in a row. You're going to have that economy into the next, so it's okay to see them buy that judge, and I think it was a Spectre on that second one. While meanwhile, I saw one with 3,300 not buying any weapons, so I think what they want to do is just try to gamble onto this one here because Tens has a judge and Tens is good with a judge, and if they actually lose a round, you could still buy an operator for Tens into the last and bring it into the distance pretty much at this point. So 12-10 now in favor of TSM. Their pressure is still on here for the attacker side.
And it looks like A is going to be hit. A lot of pressure for Vice to deal with on this anchor. The latest player to be in this roster of C9 has done relatively well across this series, but might be asked for quite a lot whilst Tens is holding in double doors with the judge. Right now, it's just spotting out stuff. This rotation could be a little bit slow. It depends how TSM want to play this, but it's a lot of pressure for the latest player to deal with. That Molly is going to give up a lot of intel that they're heading that way, but the rotation hasn't come in just yet. The Cypher's going to spot it with the camera, but it might be too little too late. As soon as he spots that body, that rotation needs to come in right now.
And now the counter camera is coming through from Cutler as well. And here comes the shock darts as well from the side. Vice is moving forward. But at this point, like I said, they only have pistols here for Cloud9. So it should be around coming in. Oh no, here it comes. The Blade Storm. Tens with the shotgun as well. 2 kills. Big 3. It's over. Tens with 3 kills with the judge. And they seal the deal with the 2 weapons that they bought here for Cloud9. And Cloud9 defeats TSM and is best out of 3 and are moving into the semifinals of the Pulse Invitational.
And in what